Hello and welcome back to Disconnect Adults. Today I'll be discussing depression and I'll be talking more about self-esteem. Now, I've received some feedback from last week's video and I was asked to elaborate a little bit more on self-esteem and how it affected me. So let me start with going over depression first. Depression is very hard to describe. It's like being trapped in a bubble in your own head. The NHS describes it as being persistently sad for weeks and months. I think that's putting it quite lightly. It feels a lot worse than that. It feels like you're alone. It feels like you've lost all hope. It feels like you're having an existence crisis to a degree. To give you some context, one of the places that I always wanted to go to was Japan. And a few years ago, I actually did manage to go to Japan. The people there were lovely. I enjoyed the food. I've traveled all around. You name it, Osaka, Tokyo. I really loved every minute of it. Now, during my holiday, I was overwhelmed with depression. It kicked in. What should have been me having having the time of my life actually just made me I just started to feel very miserable. And it had nothing to do with the place. It had nothing to do with the country. Depression just hits you for no reason and I don't know, it could just ruin your day, your week, your month, just like that. And I have no idea what brought it on. Sometimes it doesn't have an answer. Sometimes there is a cause, but sometimes it just creeps in when you least expect it. I was diagnosed with depression, and I mentioned in my earlier video I was bullied in secondary school. But to be honest, I didn't understand that I was depressed. I was bullied to the point where I felt that I had no voice. I couldn't speak my mind. Any attempt to talk led to more bullying. It was that bad. I bottled up a lot of my emotions for years. Sometimes I would burst out in anger because it has to be released somehow. When you bottle up your emotions, there comes a point where you explode. And that's happened to me several times. But because I had been feeling that way for years, what I now understand is depression actually felt normal to me at the time. And I now understand it wasn't normal. It wasn't normal. And because of that, I'm now very self-aware of when I feel depression coming on. What do you do with depression? You go see your GP. Don't keep it to yourself. See your GP. You may or may not need depression tablets or a medication. Sometimes a slight lifestyle change can help too. Hitting the gym, maybe taking up a hobby. It could be that you're so involved in work you haven't had any me time. You need to probably take some me time. It could be overdoing it maybe just sitting on the settee and watching TV too much. For some, it can be an escape as well. So I suppose there's not really a right or wrong there. But when you're in a job where you're sitting in front of a computer screen for a certain amount of time, and then you're watching TV, it's still another screen. So maybe taking yourself away from any computer monitor for a while can help. But going back into depression and self-esteem, I did not like myself. I felt like trash. I had no self-confidence. I wish I did. I lost out on opportunities because of my low self-esteem. There were people I probably would have liked to have asked out in my younger days, but I didn't have the confidence to, because I didn't feel like I was in anybody's league. There were opportunities that I missed in terms that could have helped me in my media career, but I didn't have the confidence to do it. My self-esteem was really shot. I felt incredibly low, to the point that I just didn't want to be here anymore. I'm not going to use a certain word because YouTube doesn't like it, but you understand what I mean, right? Yeah, I just didn't want to be here anymore. But I'm just glad that I had a really good support system around me. I had my parents, I had friends. I mean, the real ones showed up, and the love and support was there. But yeah, the bullying, people think, oh, you leave school, the bullying, everything that you experience is left when you leave school. It doesn't. For some, when you're bullied and you're bullied really badly, it can affect you for the rest of your life. And there are some people who don't seem to understand that. It sticks with you. It stays in your head. There are some people who talk about how it's fortunate that there was a father figure who taught them how to defend themselves. Well, didn't really have that. I did taekwondo, but yeah, taekwondo, in my view, is not. The taekwondo I learned was probably more for a sports setting rather than a self-defense setting. It just wasn't really helping me. It was more for, if anything, it was more for fitness, but I didn't think I could defend myself properly with taekwondo. And this was just before the early days of even UFC and MMA, so it was sort of there, but it wasn't well known back then. Yeah, there's just times where I feel imposter syndrome. Even doing this, sitting here in front of you, doing Dysconnect, I did not have the confidence to do any of that. I would have been doing this years ago if I had more confidence. I see a lot of people who started gaming channels and whatnot. I was around the same age as all of them, but yeah, money, belief, all of that was a barrier. So yeah, here I am today. I know there's some of you who are probably going through some of this, but don't bottle it up. Don't keep it to yourself. You feel really horrible. Talk to someone. Please don't keep it to yourself. If you are in crisis, you could call the Samaritans, and various other hotlines for help. I'll put their details in the description. So if you need to call somebody, I'll leave the phone number in the description of this video. That being said, thank you for tuning in. I know it's a pretty deep topic, but I'm happy that you joined me today. Keep fighting, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, especially for those of you who are new here. So don't forget to also click the bell so that you can be updated on all future videos. Thank you for joining me, and you can support this channel by looking below into the description box. You'll see a link for Coffee Brand Coffee, some of the best coffee you'll ever taste. They also serve really nice hot cocoa in various flavors as well. So if you're not a coffee drinker, there are other options there for you too. So you can support this channel by checking out Coffee Brand Coffee with the link below. Use my discount code Dysconnect, and yeah, enjoy. So that's it from me, and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye bye.